Well, hello everybody and welcome to Vinyl Treasures. I'm your host, Johnny G, John Galindo, coming to you live each and every Saturday only here on Top Shelf Oldies. I want to welcome you to the November 9th, 2019 Vinyl Treasure Show on this cold evening. Boy, did it get cold pretty quick. So out with the summer, out with the fall. Now we're in winter, although it's not winter yet. I don't think it is. Is it? As Johnny G loses his mind. But we opened up tonight's 50s edition with the most popular theme song for Dick Clark's American Bandstand, as done by Les Elgart and his orchestra. A song entitled Bandstand Boogie. Now, that wasn't the original theme song when Bob Horn was the host of the show. The song was High Society by Artie Shaw. That was the original theme song. Then when Dick Clark had that national syndicated show, he made it that bandstand theme. And in 1969, it changed to the bandstand theme by Mike Curb. Then again in 1974, it became Bandstand Boogie by Joe Porter. And in 1977, Barry Manilow did the theme song for American Bandstand. But I figured I'd open up tonight's from a show from March of 54 on the Columbia label for Les Elgart and his orchestra and the Bandstand Boogie. Well, don't know if Dick Clark played this next 45 on his bandstand show, but let's open up the vocal portion with the Kitty lead as we go to Hiram Johnson's Johnson label. It's the only release for this group. They're called the Cordovans. The Cordovans here, not much known about this group, but the song was written by group member Alvin Hassel. Let's go to February 1958, the Johnson label, the Cordovans with Come On Baby.
Boom, ba boom, boom, ba boom, boom. Shoot, shoot, ba ba boom, boom. Shoot, shoot, ba ba boom, boom. Shoot, shoot, ba 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 ba. Come on, baby, I love you so. Come on, baby, won't let you go. Come on, baby, I love you so. Come on, baby, I
We open up the vocal portion there with the Cordovans. The Cordovans from February 1958 came out on Hiram Johnson's Johnson record label. That's the same label that the Shells had all their releases on. Well, not all their releases, but at least Baby Oh Baby on the Johnson label. Come On Baby, the name of the tune. Again, not much known about the group. Now, the song would be re-released in 1960, was reviewed in Billboard actually, so if you have this record on the large print, kind of like when Baby Oh Baby became a hit at the end of 1960, it's got that big print. That is the second press. If you have the small print, that is the first press, as Johnny G babbles on here. So let's continue now. This next artist is out of Philadelphia. He would be the owner of the Virtue Recording Studios in Philadelphia. Lots of great records came out of that studio, beginning in the late 1950s, and later lots of great soul recordings out of that Virtue studio. But his name is Frank Virtue, and he was also a rock and roller and a little older than most at the time in the late 1950s, but some cool rockin' tunes that he put out. His biggest hit, of course, was in 59. It was called Guitar Boogie Shuffle, but here's one from April of 56. It's on the Rhythm label. A rhythm label out of Philadelphia. I think this is where the label's from. Also came out on the Tonecraft label. I have it on Tonecraft, and Frank is on guitar, and he's also on the vocals here. Let's go back to April of 1956. It's Frank Virtuoso and the Virtues on the Rhythm label. It's called Rollin and Rockin.
Up in the morning before the daylight, rollin' and rockin' with all of my might. I'm rollin' and rockin'.
Rockin' and rollin',
yes, rollin' and rockin',
rockin' and rollin',
rollin' and rockin' my blues away today. I roll with breakfast, rock with my lunch, dinner at night with a great big punch. I'm rollin' and rockin',
rockin' and rollin',
yes, rollin' and rockin',
rockin' and rollin',
rollin' and rockin' my blues away today.
rockin' and rollin',
yes, rollin' and rockin',
rockin' and rollin',
rollin' and rockin' my blues away today. Hey, rollin' my head, rockin' my feet, jumpin' up and down with crazy beat. I'm rollin' and rockin',
rockin' and rollin',
yes, rollin' and rockin',
rockin' and rollin',
rollin' and rockin' my blues away today. Fall down on the floor. Come on, everybody, what are you waiting for? I'm rollin' and rockin',
rockin' and rollin',
yes, rollin' and rockin',
rockin' and rollin',
rollin' and rockin' my blues away today. Roll, 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 everybody, rock, 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 everybody, roll, 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 everybody, rock, 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 everybody, roll and rock your blues away.
Yeah, when I told Charlene to, if she looked that record up, I said, Charlene, see if it was in an Alan Freed movie, because I could swear that record was in an Alan Freed movie, but we couldn't find it anywhere. April 1956, Frank Virtuoso and the Virtues. That one there on the Rhythm label, a song entitled Rollin and Rockin. That's Warren. There are other records on this label. I think the Royal Demons I have on this label on an orange Rhythm label. I have a couple others on this label. It was a local Philly label. It was Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. I spin my original vinyl 45's every Saturday from 10 to midnight right here on Top Shelf Oldies, and we count down the music chronologically here on the 50s edition. Going to send this next song out to entertainment writer David Hinckley, who wrote for the New York Daily News for over 35 years, and he's also a fan of this music, and I know he likes this next group out of Baltimore, Maryland. This is their second on Jerry Blaine's Jubilee record label. It features Louis Buster Banks on lead. I have to apologize in advance for this one, as in the beginning of this there is a slight heap warp, but it plays okay. You'll hear a little bit of a swish, which kind of really pissed me off, but anyway, when I got this record. But let's give it a spin here. We go back to April 1952, the Marylanders on Jubilee. It's called Make Me Thrill Again.
In all of the world, there is no other girl. Say you will make me thrill, oh, make me thrill again. Bitter years, broken heart, shed tears. Say you will make me thrill, oh, make me thrill again. Well, no matter what I did, when nobody wanted me, love song that I sang turned into blue memory. Now all that is past, and I found you at last. Say you will make me thrill, oh, make me thrill again. Well, no matter what I did, when nobody wanted me, the love song that I sang turned into blue memory. Now all that is past, and I found you at last. Say you will make me thrill, oh, make me thrill again, thrill again, thrill again.
Yeah, they don't make records like that anymore. Those are the Marylanders. Marylanders from April 1952. Louis Buster Banks on lead. That's on Jerry Blaine's Jubilee record label with Buddy Lucas's, I think it's the Band. Is it the Band of Tomorrow? Band of Tomorrow. Yes, the Band of Tomorrow back in 1952. Anyway, that had a little bit of a heat warp there. It kind of dissipated as it went through the record, but still, it's a rare 45. The Marylanders there with Make Me Thrill Again. I know to send that one out to David Hinckley. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Let's move into 1953 now with this duet. They have 4 releases on the Bahari Brothers Modern label. They are a husband and wife duet by the name of Jimmy Lee and Artis, a.k.a. Jimmy Lee Cheatham, and his wife, Artis Brewster. Here's their 3rd release on the Modern label. We go back to March of 1953. Jimmy Lee and Artis on the Modern label. It's called All Right, Baby.
And you come back in the morning.
All right, baby, baby, that's all right for you. You treat me wrong and keep me feeling blue. Well, you know, Daddy, I work every night.
I don't mind you working, but finish by daylight.
All right, baby, baby, that's all right for you.
But still, pretty baby, I don't see you every day.
All right, baby, baby, that's all right for you. You treat me wrong and keep me feeling blue.
And you'd better change them too.
All right, baby, baby, that's all right for you. You treat me wrong and keep me feeling blue. You treat me wrong and keep me feeling blue. You treat me wrong and keep me feeling blue.
That's some cool R&B from March 1953 for Jimmy Lee and Artis, a husband and wife duet there on the Bahari Brothers Modern record label, song entitled All Right Baby. I have, I think, all 3 of their 4 records, and they're all cool R&B sides like that with saxophone and everything else. Anyway, Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. We continue. We move into 1954 with a group from the Bronx, New York. Now, according to Marv Goldberg, this group had the first anthem of rock and roll, which was a much bigger hit for a Canadian group called the Crew Cuts. Of course, you know the song. It was called Shaboom. But did you know that there was another group called the Chords with a release on the Gem label in early 1953? It forced the Chords to change their name to the Chord Cats, and with their second release, I think it was Zippity Zum, they changed their name to the Chord Cats, although some presses do come out, or the early presses did come out as the Chords. But here is their third release on the Cat label, written by the lead singer. His name is Carl Feaster. We go to November of 1954. These are the Chord Cats, a.k.a. the Chords, on the Cat label with their tune called A Girl to Love.
I prayed to the Lord in heaven if He would be so kind to show me in a dream a girl to love. It would all be so thrilling to hear the church bells ringing. Here I wait with open arms for a girl to love, like the sunrise in the morning, burning desires above, but the burning in my heart is caused by foolish love. It would all be so thrilling to hear the church bells ringing. Here I wait with open arms for a girl to love, like the sunrise in the morning, burning desires above, but the burning in my heart is caused by foolish love. It would all be so thrilling to hear the church bells ringing. Here I wait with open arms for a girl to love.
Yeah, that's Carl Feaster on lead with the Chord Cats. The Chord Cats on the Cat label, subsidiary of Atlantic Records there. November 1954, A Girl to Love is the name of the tune. And that is their third release on the Cat label. They again would change their name to the Shabooms with releases on the Vic. I think they also have one on Atlantic, and they have another one on the Atco label. Now, I'm sure there were songs recorded by others that inspired other groups to create their own, or maybe even copy them. Which brings us to our next 45 as we head out to California. I typed in the chat room to listen to that song very closely as we go to this next tune. That one there was from November of 1954. Let's move up 7 years to 1961 and listen to this song closely. Maybe it reminds you just a little bit of the one we just heard by the Chord Cats, but this song was written by, or supposedly it says it was written by group members Vernon Merrick and Paul Politi. Now, the group is Valentino and the Lovers, and Valentino is really Bobby Ralph, lead singer of the Laurels. So let's send this one out to listener George Tompkins, this one from June of 61. Listen closely to Valentino and the Lovers on the Donna label. If it sounds a little bit like that Chord Cats, it's called One Teardrop Too Late.
As the tears fell from my eyes, but no longer I wait.
June 61 release there, Bob Keane's Donna record label for Valentino and the Lovers with One Teardrop Too Late. That's the name of the tune. Valentino, really Bobby Relf on lead. That's a cool tune. I think it sounds, it isn't note for note exact, but maybe some of the lyrics and was it Daryl that said it sounded, that record reminding him of the Heartbeats record? I don't know. Maybe it does. But anyway, that one there going out to Mr. George Tompkins as we continue here on the Vinyltreasure Show. I have a number of flip sides from last week's show. Here's our first. We go to Saul Rabinowitz's Baton record label, featured the Rivoliers out of Queens, New York, with their third of 6 on the Baton label. It played Eternal Love, featured Gene Pearson on lead. The flip side was written by Alfonso Delaney, and he's doing lead on this side. We go to September of 1954, the Rivoliers on Baton. Their tune is called Carolyn.
Carolyn, you are the one that I adore. You are the one that captured my heart with all your faith and your love. Faith and love, Carolyn. You are the one that makes my life worthwhile. You are the one that has those endearing charms that made your love fade into my heart. Oh yes, yes, my heart. Your eyes are so gorgeous, and your lips are so divine. You're so full of kindness. That's why I can't help loving you, Carolyn. I hope you'll always live a happy life, and still my love will be for you, oh so true. Oh Carolyn, I love you so. Oh love you so. Your eyes are so gorgeous, and your lips are so divine. You're so full of kindness. That's why I can't help loving you, Carolyn. I hope you'll always live a happy life, and still my love will be for you, oh so true. Oh Carolyn, I love you so.
Those are the Rivoliers on the Baton record label, September 1954 release. Song entitled Carolyn, Alfonso Delaney on lead, although the main lead, Gene Pearson, was the lead, did all those cool leads on Count Every Star, etc. But anyway, let's continue here. Haven't heard this next song in quite a while. We go to Harlem, New York. Now, this group signed with Bess Berman's Apollo record label for 6 releases. Here is their second. It features Floyd Adams on lead. We go to December of 1955. Here are the keynotes on Apollo with their tune called I Don't Know.
I don't know why I love you like I do. Well, maybe it's because that you love me true. Still no, oh, come back, my darling, please come back to me. Well, tell me, pretty baby, that you will be true. Still no, oh, maybe someday, my dear, you will understand. Well, tell me then, my darling dear, I can be your man. Still no, oh. Love you like I do. Well, maybe it's because that you love me true. Still no, love you like I do.
Those are the keynotes. The keynotes from December of 1955 there on the Best Berman's Apollo record label, song entitled I Don't Know. And I remember the first time I bought that 45 was on a 78. In General Motors in Terrytown in 1976 had a centennial flea market, this humongous flea market, and I went down there, and there were people from the local town and other areas, and I went down really early, and there was somebody with a box of 78s. They were 15 cents a piece, and that was in there. Wasn't in great shape, but the first time I bought that 45 was on a 78. But those are the keynotes with Floyd Adams on lead for that one. Now, Floyd would leave the group after their next release, and he was replaced by a new lead singer. Sam Kearney replaced Floyd Adams as the lead singer to the keynotes. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Got to say hi to my, my fellow work employee, Nat, listening in Naples, Florida. We worked for the same construction company back in 2000 maybe, but he's watching Johnny G down in Naples, Florida. Got to say hi to Nat in our chat room. Got your request coming up, a very rare 45 on the Cyclone record label, but let's continue here. Last week I featured a group called The Rockers, a group out of St. Louis, Missouri, on Emmett Carter's Carter label. I played the up-tempo side of their 45. I think it was their first 45. It was called Tell Me Why, but I bought the 45 for the flip side, which is a cover song that originally came out in 1950, as done by, I think, Ray Anthony and his orchestra. Did this song first as an instrumental. It was also recorded in 1950 by the Ravens on the National label. I have that on a 78, and I do have it on a 45. But let's give a listen to this version by the Rockers. It's from 1955. It's on the Carter label. Art Lassiter, he's on lead. Give a listen to the Rockers version of this tune. It's called Count Every Star.
Count one, count two, count three, yes, count four, count one, count two, count three, yes, count four. Count every star in the midnight skies. Count every bird, every fly that flies. Count every star, and darling, when you do, heaven knows every way on a starry sea. Count every star, and darling, when you do, you know the times I've cried for you. Count every star in the midnight sky. Count every bird, every fly that flies.
Count every star, yes, darling, and when you do, heaven knows how I'll miss you.
Count every leaf.
Yes, on a windy, windy tree.
Count every wave.
On the stormy, stormy sea.
Count every star, and darling, when you do, you know the times I've cried for you. One,
Count,
two,
count,
three,
yes, count.
for you.
Cover tunes here on the Vinyltreasure Show. Those are the Rockers. The Rockers from 1955 with Art Lassiter on lead. Their version of Count Every Star. It's on the Carter label. It's a rare 45, I guess. Who sold me that? Warren does. Jerry Diaz. You might know Jerry Diaz out on the West Coast. Haven't heard from him in a long, long time. I hope he is doing well. Johnny G's doing well for a Saturday evening. Hope you are too as we continue here. Got a request for UK listener Eddie Votex. Thank you, Eddie, for your comments about the show. Was happy to get this song on for you. It's on John Dolphin's Cash label out of Los Angeles, California by a group called the Turks. Actually, it says the original Turks, probably because this was first recorded by, or I said when they were recording this song, they were known as the Hollywood Flames when they first signed with John Dolphin as the Hollywood Flames. I think Release on the Money label was his sister label. But anyway, this was done in a session in September of 1954, but they put it out in July 56 as the B-side. I don't know, the B-side or the A-side. I don't know what John Dolphin was doing. But anyways, by request for Eddie Votex, this one from July 56, Bobby Bird on lead, the original Turks on Cash, and their tune called Wagon Wheels.
Well, there's a wagon wheel, baby, there's a little bitty wagon wheel. Oh, keep on rolling away, wagon wheel. Oh, roll along, baby, we'll sing a little song, and then carry me over the hill. Oh, roll on, mule, there's a steamer at the landing, just waiting for the cotton to roll, then we'll roll on the mule, 'cause the boss is understanding. There's a pasture at the end of each road. Oh, wagon wheel, baby, there's a little bitty wagon wheel. Keep on rolling away, wagon wheel. Oh, roll along, sing a song. Oh, wagon wheel carries me home. Well, roll on, yes, steamers at the landing, just waiting for the cotton to roll, then we'll roll on you. Well, boss is understanding. There's a pasture at the end of each road. Oh, wagon
you go, by request for Eddie Votex there. July 1956, those are the Turks, original Turks, it says on the label. On the Cash, John Dolphin's Cash Records out of Hollywood, California, song entitled Wagon Wheels. Bobby Bird on lead for that one, and that is, I think that's an old song, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. And here's a request from my California listener, Matey Campboy. Thank you again, Matey, for your emails and the requests. This one, one of the premier 1950s groups to come out of Philadelphia, PA. They released 6 on Al Silver's Herald label. Matey requested their third with Al Banks on lead. This one from April 56 going out to Matey. These are the Turbans on the Herald label, and their tune called I'm Nobody's.
Darling, loneliness is something that no one likes to have. So I'm asking you to please be mine. Because you see, it's like this with me. I'm so alone. I've got nobody. My heart belongs to nobody. That's why I want to belong to you. Well, you're so sweet, I want you to be my sugar lump. When you look me in the eye, you make my heart jump. Oh, baby, 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 can't you see? Without you, I would be, yes, all by myself. Nobody's with me, living for myself all the time. Please, darling, won't you please be mine? Please try to understand that I want you to be mine. Put our hearts together and make our love genuine. Oh, baby, 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 can't you see that I want to be, yes, somebody's, please be mine. Somebody's, I want to belong to you.
As by request for Matey Campboy listening in California, those are the Turbans, Al Banks and the Turbans. April 1956 on Al Silver's Herald record label. The song entitled I'm Nobody's. Written by David Clowney. David Clowney, a.k.a. Dave Baby Cortez, and Leroy Kirkland. They wrote the tune. That's a cool tune. Thank you for that request, matey. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on all the original vinyl 45's. I don't have every 45. I wish I did. But maybe if I grew up in the 1950s, I would have purchased every 45. But it's when you listen to disco music as a teenager and then you go into 1950s vocal groups. Actually, it was my aunt that got me started in this collecting of vocal groups. I'm actually going to be doing a tribute show for her, not next week, but the week of the Saturday after that, as it would be her birthday on November 21st, but she passed away earlier this year. She was supposed to be a guest listener, believe it or not, on my show, and I was going to pull out all her 45s and she would talk about it, but it never will materialize. But I will get lots of her favorites in a couple weeks. I'm starting to plan the show out. But let's continue here on the Vinyltreasure Show. Let's go back to Harlem, New York, and we go back to Bess Berman's Apollo record label. This group initially recorded as the Dovers, but then they became the Vocal Tones. This is their second of 3 on the Apollo label. This one from April 56. It features Bobby Johnson on lead, the Vocal Tones on Apollo. It's called Darling, You Know I Love You.
Well, darling, you know I love you. Well, I really, really love you so. Oh, don't ever leave me. I'll never, never let you go. Well, darling, you know I love you. Won't you say you love me too? Well, darling, I really miss you. Oh, how I love to kiss you. Oh, don't ever leave me. Oh, how it would hurt me. Well, darling, you know I love you. I want you to say you love me too. Well, I love you and I want you well. I love you, love you, love you so. Oh, I really, really, really love you. I really love you.
Boom, boom, wop, boom, boom, wop, wop.
You know I love you. Well, I really, really love you so. Oh, don't ever leave me. I'll never, never let you go. Well, darling, you know I love you. I want you to say you love me too. Well, baby, no, I love you. Well, I really love you so. Ow, baby, no, I need you and I never, no, let you go, oh, darling. You know I love you. Well, I really, really love you so. Oh, don't ever leave me. I'll never, never let you go. Well, darling, you know I love you. I want you to say you love me too.
Pretty baby, all day.
You go.
Yeah, those are the Vocal Tones. The Vocal Tones on Bess Berman's Apollo record label, April 56 release. Darling, parentheses, You Know I Love You. That's the second of 3 on the Apollo label. All their records are good, the Vocal Tones. Let's continue here on the Vinyltreasure Show. Now, the first time I ever heard this next song was on the Gus Gossard Show. He exposed me to a lot of great music during his oldie show. I think it was the Gus Gossard oldie show. I saw a commercial on WPIX TV. This guy with a leather jacket on, and he was had these cobwebs and a stack of 45s. I said, "What is that? Where is this station?" He was on Saturdays and Sundays, and he played a lot of cool records. He didn't know much about the music, but if it was a song he liked, he played it. It didn't make any difference if it was a big hit or it was a very rare record, but he played it. And this was one that I first heard on his show, and actually, this one is a request for Métis Campboy. She requested this tune, written by group member Alfred Gatewood. It features Robert Truesdale on lead. This is going out to Métis Campboy from November of 1956. Dootsy Williams, Dutone record label. Give a listen to the Cufflinks and Guided Missiles.
Guided missiles. Guided missiles. Guided missiles. Aimed at my heart. Bound to destroy me. Tear me apart. Guided kisses. None of them true. Now I know the enemy is you. Guided missiles.
bound to explode, destroying my heart. Is your goal? You have succeeded in making me blue. Now I know the enemy is you. You weaken my defenses with your tender kisses. You knew when you loved me I never would resist. Now you got me. I'll give in, trusting you was my only sin, but the same guided me, so we'll get you in the end. You weaken my defenses with your tender kisses. You knew when you loved me I never would resist. Now you got me. I'll give in, trusting you was my only sin, but the same guided me, so we'll get you in the end.
As by request from Matey Camp, boy, November 1956, the Cufflinks there, the Cufflinks on Dootsy Williams' Dutone record label, song entitled Guided Missiles, Robert Truesdale on lead. Now, what happened was these guys were stationed at an Air Force base in Sacramento, California at the time when they formed, came up with the name Cufflinks, auditioned for Dootsy Williams. He signed them right on the spot. Alfred Gatewood, he was the writer of the tune and the bass of the group on that 45. Anyway, Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. And speaking of Matey, now last week she requested Earl Lewis and the Channels in their fourth release on Bobby Robinson's Whirling Disc label, a song entitled Flames in My Heart. So let's give a spin to the flip side before I file it back down in the no humidity basement. This tune written by Earl Lewis, he's on lead, from July of 1957. The Channels on Whirling Disc, their tune's called My Lovin' Baby.
My loving baby, please don't leave me now.
July 1957 release there for Earl Lewisohn and the Channels. That's on Bobby Robinson's Whirling Disc record label. My Lovin' Baby is the name of the tune, the flip side to Flames in My Heart. Cool tunes here for a Saturday evening as we continue now. Next, a request for Chuck Staton. Chuck Staton listening in Henderson, Nevada. He's also in the YouTube chat room. We got to say hi to Chuck, and he requested early Little Anthony and the Imperials. Now, initially they recorded as the DuPonts on the Winley label and also on Royal Roost Records, and then they became the Chesters. And this one's on Bess Berman's Apollo record label, written by Little Anthony, a.k.a. Anthony Gordine, and it's arranged by Sammy Lowe. This one from December of 1957. It's going out to Chuck on Apollo, the Chesters, with The Fires Burn No More.
The fires burn no more since you said our love meant nothing more. Let's forget. The fires burn no more. The fires burn no more. Into the night. Nothing more, let's forget. The fires burn no more, the fires burn no more. Fires burn no more.
Whoops. That one there, going out by request to Chuck Staton. That one there, a cool tune by the Chesters, a.k.a. Little Anthony and the Imperials. The Chesters are December 1957, The Fires Burn No More. It's on the Apollo label. And yes, Chuck, that is a... That is a promo. I also have a stock copy. Brian, you know I have a stock copy. Had the promo, but now I have a stock copy. Johnny G is a completist. Don't ask me why. A couple of my collector peers are like, "What are you doing with a stock and a promo?" That's because sometimes I think that the promos really play better than the stock copies in many instances because they were meant really to be played a lot. And plus, I like the record. Anyway, but that's a great request, Chuck. Thanks for requesting that one. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here with original vinyl 45's. Now, last week I featured a group called the Matadors on Juggy Murray's Sue label. The side that I played was called Vengeance Will Be Mine. It featured Johnny Garfield on lead. He's also doing lead on the B-side, and it's a cover song. A cover song originally came out in 1936 by by Bing Crosby. He did it first, and it was recorded by so many groups through the years, and the one that comes to mind, or that first came to mind, was the Skyliners version of this, but many groups did do it. But let's give a listen to this version by the Matadors, and this one we're going to send out to Darrell Letts. This is one he said we have to play the flip side, so it's going out to listener Darrell Letts in the YouTube chat room. This one from March of 57, the Matadors on Sioux with their rendition of the tune Pennies from Heaven.
Every time it rains, pennies from heaven. Don't you know each cloud contains pennies from heaven? You'll find your fortune falling all over town. Be sure that your umbrella is upside down. Trading for a package of sunshine and flowers. If you want the things you love, you must have showers. So when you hear it thunder, don't run under a tree. There'll be pennies from heaven for you and me. Showers. So when you hear it thunder, don't run under a tree. There'll be pennies from heaven for you and me. So when you hear it thunder, don't run under the tree. There'll be pennies from heaven for you and me. For you and me.
Cover tunes here on the Vinyltreasure Show. Those are the Matadors. The Matadors, March 1957. That's the B-side to the very first record on the Sioux record label. The flip side of Vengeance, that is Pennies from Heaven, as done by the Matadors. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. We continue here. Go a bit out of sequence here, as I thought this 45 came out in 1958, but I was wrong. It was released in October of 1959, but that's when it was reviewed in Cashbox magazine. But the group is out of Largo, Florida. Initially, they had releases on the Trideck and the Nugget labels, but they followed those up by this release that came out on the Dream label. The tune written by the guitarist and lead singer for the group, his name is Ralph Stewart. This one from October of 1959. Give a listen to the Dreamers on the Dream label, a song entitled Seconds.
It was seconds. It was minutes. Was hours, it was days, it was months, it was years. It's been a long and lonely time. I know that our love
is here to stay. It's been seconds, it's been minutes, yes, it's been hours, it's been days, it's been months, it's been years. Oh, it's been long, lonely time, and I know that your love's here to stay.
That's not an easy record to find for you collectors if you're looking for that one. The Dreamers, October 59. Song entitled Seconds. It's on the Dream label. I should have played that for daylight savings time anyway. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. We spin original vinyl 45s. We count down the music chronologically. Let's go back to, actually this is the last record from 1957. Now on last week's show I played a request for listener Chuck Staton by the Fabulaires. He requested a tune called While Walking. It featured it on the East West label. It also came out locally in the Philadelphia area on the Mainline label, but this group was only together for a short period of time. They were only together for about 6 months, and then they broke up, and it's too bad that they only had this one record. But let's flip the 45 over, give a listen to the flip side. It features Paul Green on lead. This is the flip side to While Walking by the Fabulaires. This one from December of 1957. The Fabulaires on East West with a song entitled No, No.
No, 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 no. Do 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 do. No, 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 no. Do 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 do. No, 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 no. Do do.
See
Those are the Fabulaires. The Fabulaires out of Philadelphia. That is the B-side to While Walking, a song entitled No No. December 1957, I featured it on the East West label. Came out locally in Philadelphia on Mainline Records. Paul Green on lead for that one. Johnny G here spinning 45's. Let's continue. Let's stay with the flip sides. We move into 1958. I featured a group called the Serenaders last week. Actually, a request for George Tompkins. This Serenaders group out of Detroit, Michigan, played it on the Teen Life label. Not an easy record to find, a pretty rare 45. Featured the ballad side. It was the intended B-side. It was called Gates of Gold. Now let's flip it over. It has sort of a Latin beat to the flip side, or to the A-side. And both sides written by someone by the name of James E. Perry, and I'm wondering if he might be the lead. I don't know, because I couldn't find any other info about this group, but it's Hal Gordon and his orchestra. This is the intended A-side from 1958. Give a listen to the Serenaders on Teen Life Records. It's called Love Me Now. As Johnny G gets caught here, I got nabbed here. I'm not ready for the next record here. I was babbling. It's not that easy to do all these things at once. I don't have any in studio helper here. But hold on a second. I got to get the next record queued. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, we just heard a group called the Serenaders from 1958 out of Detroit, Michigan. Love Me Now is the name of the tune. Kind of reminded me of like one of the El Dorados, I'll Be Forever Loving You, maybe a little bit. It's got a little bit of a Latin beat there. On the Teen Life label is a song called Love Me Now. Johnny G here spinning original vinyl 45. Let's continue now. And up next, a request for Nat Papagallo. Wow, Nat, you picked a very rare 45, I have to tell you. And if I recall correctly, this next 45 I purchased from the late George Lavatelli. He was the owner of the Relic Rack record store in Hackensack, New Jersey. And he was a member of a vocal group, the Bon Airs, that recorded for the Rust label. I think they did other records later on that came out in the early 70s. But this is a request for listener Nat Papagallo from Naples, Florida. He requested this ultra rare 45 on Paul Winley's Cyclone record label. The group is called the Calendars. It's spelled Calendars. And this one's going out to Nat from 58 or 59. It's hard to find the date on this one. But let's give it a spin here on Cyclone Records, the same Cyclone label that the Jesters recorded I Laughed. But these are the Calendars with If I Could Hold Your Hand.
If I could hold your hand, then we would make romance. Oh, how happy I would be making our romance without regret. If I could kiss your lips, then maybe you wouldn't resist me. Oh, how happy I would be knowing that someone cared. In love with you. In love with you. In love with you. Whoa, won't you hear my song? I need you, nigga. I need you, nigga. Without you, nigga. Because I just can't go on. If I could hold your hand, we would make romance. Oh, how happy I would be knowing that someone who
That's a rare tune going out to Nat Papagallo. Nat, you're behind in your video. If you're watching on your phone, possibly you are behind. But those are the calendars. The calendars, 58 or early 59, somewhere in that time period, on the Cyclone record label. If I Could Hold Your Hand. Actually, I won that on an eBay auction, and it was not cheap. It might be the only documented sale. You can check it out, maybe on Pop Psych. Maybe you can. Anyway, but someone by the name of Jack Strong on YouTube, looks like he stole the photo of this copy. I posted it up on my Facebook wall. Actually, when I played this the last time, which might have been a couple of years ago. I don't know if I played it recently. I have to check. But I did post this on Facebook. Then all of a sudden, I saw my copy on somebody's YouTube account. Maybe I should get royalty payments from that anyway. But anyway, it's definitely a cool tune. It's a rare tune. Thanks for requesting that one, Nat. Let's continue here. Let's head back out to the West Coast now to Jim Hawthorne's MMI label for a group known as the Ripcords. Now, it's not the group out of Chicago on the APCO label, nor the group on the Columbia label. That's kind of more of a surf group. I'm guessing this group is from the West Coast, and the song reminds me of the Ivories. Everybody familiar with a group called the Ivories on the Mercury label called Me and You? But for some reason, this record reminds me of that tune. Maybe because it's a gal on lead, and the song is of a similar title. It's called You and I. So you had Me and You. You can play this one as a segue. But anyway, let's go to July of 58. These are the Ripcords on MMI with You and I.
You and I belong together. Oh my darling, always forever. And yes, I'll be true. Oh my darling, always to you. When you smile at me, my heart goes boom, boom, boom.
always to you.
So soon.
And yes, I'm in love, and I'll be true for you, always to you.
July 1958 there by the Ripcords. Female lead there. I don't know who she is, though. You and I is the name of that one. It's on the MMI record label. MMI at this time was being distributed by Dot Records. Yes, Bruce Culver was the first record that on MMI that Dot distributed. This was the second. Anyway, Johnny G here for a Saturday evening spinning 45's out of 1958. Got a request for the Colonel up next. He requested this group called the Cruisers, not the group from Washington, D.C. that recorded in Philadelphia. They left Washington, D.C. to record in Philadelphia for the V-Tone label. This group is out of Brooklyn, New York, and came out on the Zebra label by request for the Colonel. Let's go to September of 1958. The Cruisers on Zebra. It's called Foolish Me. By request for the Colonel requested the Cruisers, September 1958, although it sounds earlier to me, it does. but maybe not with that instrumentation in there. The Cruisers on Zebra Records out of Brooklyn, New York. Foolish Me is the name of that one. Johnny G here, spinning original vinyl 45s. We do it every Saturday from 10 to midnight, and with overtime, we do lots of overtime. I never get to my early 60s, so because Johnny G babbling on too much. But let's continue here with another request for California listener Métis Campboy as we head back to Queens, New York for the Heartbeats. And she picked their second release on Morris Levy's Roulette record label, written by the lead singer, the late, great James Shepard. By request going out to Métis, we go to July of 1958. Roulette Records, The Heartbeats, with One Day Next Year.
One day next year, one day next year, one day next year.
One day next year, I'll be home, send you a letter or telephone to let you know that I still care. I really care. I'm longing to kiss and hold you tight, darling. I dream of you every night. Please wait for me. I hope you'll be there. Please say you can. I didn't have a dime to call. Darling, please don't worry. I'll be home in the fall. One day next year, I'll be home. Telephone to let you know that I still care. One day next
That's going out to Métis Campboy, the great Heartbeats. That's the follow-up to Down on My Knees. Those are the Heartbeats with One Day Next Year, July 1958 release, Morris Levy's Roulette record label. And we continue here. Now, last week I played a request for listener Chuck Staton by the Superiors, a group out of Philadelphia, PA. I featured it on the local mainline label. The side was called Don't Say Goodbye. That was the up-tempo side. Now, Chuck also requested the flip side, which is a killer ballad. A killer ballad. Features Eddie Custis on lead. We're going to send this one out to Chuck from February 1958, featuring it on the mainline record label, The Superiors, with their tune called Lost Love.
The sun won't shine like it used to before until you say, darling, that you're mine once more. All of my memories, darling, all of my cares, they are too hard for me to bear. The moon won't glow like it glowed that night when I held you, darling, oh so tight. We two together, you said it would be, then you laughed, you turned so tight. We two together. You said it would be. Then you laughed. You turned and walked out on me.
That's by request for Chuck Staton. That's a great tune there. The Superiors from February 1958, Lost Love. I featured it on the Mainline record label. I think the Atco Press has a different ending, if I'm not mistaken. I got to go back and check, but initially it came out on the Atco label in December of 1957. Then it came out locally in Philadelphia in February of 1958. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes tonight. Johnny G here on this cold night, spinning some hot 45's. Have a twin spin up next by this singer originally from Columbus, Ohio. And before he went solo, he was a member of a few groups. Initially, he joined the Swallows on the King label back in 1956. He was also a member of the Marquis that recorded on the Rainbow label and the Flyers on the Atco label, where he was recruited by Bill Pinkney to become a member of the Drifters. And he sang lead on that Drifters tune, Drip Drop. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that tune. Then in 1958, he went solo and signed with Juggy Murray's Sue record label. As a result, he had 8 releases on the Sue label. Let's give a listen to his first, which was his, or actually not the A side of the first, but the A side of the first was his biggest hit, a song entitled Itchy Twitchy Feeling. But let's give a listen to the B side, as requested by George Tompkins. This group backing him up here on vocals supposedly are the Coasters. They backed him up on his first 3 releases on the Sue record label, but this is going out to George. Actually, the next 2 going out to George from June 58 first, the B-side to the first release by Bobby Hendricks on the Sue label. It's called 1,000 Dreams.
Of the heartaches that I feel inside, and of the tears I'm trying to hide. Little do they know, little do they care, I'm a man of 1,000 dreams. Whoa, 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 whoa. They see me laughing, happy and carefree, but whenever I'm alone, I'm in misery. Little do they know, little do they care, I'm a man of 1,000 dreams. I had a girl who loved only me. Did her wrong, I know. She left me with tears in her eyes. She said, never miss your water until your well runs dry. Now as I walk along with my head held high, some people seem to think a man shouldn't cry. Little do they know, little do they care, I'm a man of 1,000 dreams. Now as I walk alone with my head held high, some people think
B-sides here on the Vinyltreasure Show. Great B-side there by Bobby Hendrix, June 1958. That's the B-side to Itchy Twitchy Feeling, which I do like, but that is a great ballad he does, 1,000 Dreams. He should be a man of 1,000 dreams, but it's not. It's 1,000 Dreams on the Sue record label, and background vocals there by either, maybe not all the Coasters, but definitely some of the Coasters backing him up on that. And not only did they do background work on that song, they do it on his second release. It's Dreamy Eyes and Molly Be Good. They're backing him up on that one. And this side that I'm featuring, we're going to send this one again out to George Tompkins as this is the wait, what is this one here? This is his third release on the Sue record label. It's going out to George Tompkins, again backed up by the Coasters on this one. This one from January 59. Once again, give a listen. A twin spin on Bobby Hendrix. It's on Sue Records. This song is called It's Misery.
Want you, need you, honest I do. It's misery knowing you no longer care. It's haunting me, the love we used to share. I played the game, but I didn't play it fair. I lost. Honest I do. I'm sorry, dear, if I caused you pain. I promise you I won't hurt you again. Just let me know if you still feel the same about me. The same about me. Will I ever hold you again in my arms? And will I ever thrill again to your charm? Now it's misery knowing you no longer care. It's haunting me, the love we used to share. I played the game, but I didn't play it fair. I lost.
That's a great tune there. Bobby Hendrix there. Twin spin by Bobby Hendrix, January 1959. That's his third of 8 on the Sue record label. It's Misery is the name of that one, as That Side and 1,000 Dreams, written by bandleader Jimmy Oliver. Great tunes there going out to George Tompkins. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening spinning my 45's. We do it every Saturday from 10 to midnight. Let's continue here. Got another request for Nat Papagallo, listening down in Naples, Florida, for this group called the Ideals. Now, this Ideals group is out of California, a mixed group of males and females, and have this Ideals group has this lone release on Brad Miller's Stars of Hollywood label, and this is the intended B-side. Nat requested the intended B-side. It features Norman Schwartz on lead. Send this one out to Nat from March of 1959. The Ideals on Stars of Hollywood. It's called Please Jan.
care for you. Love me the way I love you.
I'm trying to think which Elegance record that reminds me of. Not Good Night, not True Love Affair is one of the Elegance record that reminds me of. Anyway, those are the Ideals, March 1959. Norman Schwartz on lead. Please Jan is the name of that one on Stars of Hollywood's going out to Nat Papagallo. And Warren, you're going to have records that I have. There may be a number of them that I play that you don't have. But I would think you've been collecting for a long time. The chances that you have a lot of the records that I play is going to be great, especially if you've been collecting a long time. I've been collecting since I was a teenager. But again, I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have deep pockets. Not till I started working and making some money in accounting, working in accounting, was I able to go out and start buying some of these records. And again, I have a limit. I mean, here, Johnny, you want to buy 219 Train? I want $7,800. I said, are you kidding? I can't afford that. Anyway, but I have that on a 78, I will tell you that. Let's continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Now, last week I featured the Students out of Cincinnati, Ohio, their second release on the Checker label with the up-tempo side of their second release. It was called That's How I Feel. You know I couldn't file this one back, Daryl, if I didn't play the flip side of the record. Originally came out on the Note label, which I do have. I have a nice copy on the Note label, but I had this nice clean copy, Brian, that I got on the Checker record label. So originally it came out in November of 59, then Checker put it out, I think, in January of 62. So I'm playing the re-released side on the Checker label because it's a great record. I never get tired of it. Leroy King on lead. Give a listen to The Students. It's on the Checker label and a great tune. It's called My Vow to You. That's the classic sound of the Students. The Students on the Checker label, featured on the second label. I have it on the Note label. Actually, I have both their records on the Note label. They go for a lot of money. If there's one record that constantly sells, it's that record. A great tune. I remember first hearing it on my aunt had Murray the K's, like, Blast from the Past, or for Golden Gassers, or for Submarine Race Watchers. That's where I first heard the song, and then of course Gus Gossard played it on his show. But that's a cool tune, My Vow to You, by the Students on the Checker label. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Thank you all for tuning in. Got to thank also a listener that tunes in every Saturday is Donald McGee. Thank you, Donald McGee, for tuning in. Also, Geronimo, thank you for tuning into the show. Really appreciate it all the time you tune into the Vinyltreasure Show. Let's continue here, and here's another flip side. I couldn't file back unless I gave it a spin here. It's a rare 45 by a group called the Enchanters. They're out of Detroit, Michigan. I featured their final single that came out on the local Stardust label. It was called Spellbound by the Moon. That's another rare 45. So let's flip it over, give a listen to the flip side. It features Alton Hollowell on lead. As we are in the year 1959 now. These are the Enchanters on Stardust. It's called Know It All.
If I wasn't a know-it-all, I might have known that I was falling in love, but by me being a know-it-all, I didn't think I could. But I didn't know it when you grabbed and kissed me and started to grin. Something within me, darling, started to spin. Then something happened to me. Well, I really love you. I really, really need you. I really want you. Believe me, you should know. But when you started to cry, something within me, darling, started to die. And then my soul did just caught on fire. Then I knew I was in love. Well, I really love you. I really, really need you. I really want you. Believe me, you should know. But when you started to cry, something within me, darling, started to die. And then my soul did just caught on fire. Then I was in love. I knew I was a know-it-all. Was a know-it-all. Was a was a was a.
That's the final single for the Enchanters. Alton Hollowell on lead. It's on the Stardust record label. That's the B-side to Spellbound by the Moon, a song entitled Know It All. Now, their first release was on the Mercer label back in 1956. I don't have that 45. Maybe Darryl Letts can find a copy up in Detroit for me on the Mercer label, but I have their other releases on the Coral label. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here, and this next 45 is one of the first records to be published under Berry Gordy Jr.'s publishing, Joe Bet Publishing. Did I say that right? Yes. Written by Smokey Robinson and Berry Gordy Jr. It features the Rayber voices in the background. Give a listen to this singer by the name of Wade Jones. Wade Jones and the Rayber voices from January 1959 on the Rayber label. Wade Jones with a song entitled Insane.
Insane, your kisses drive me mad. Insane, oh, I need your love so bad. Insane, seems I'm going insane. It's plain that I'm yours forever. Never been in love before. And I'm going insane. My head's spinning round in a circle. My mind's going round and about. I want you to take me and hold me in your arms and never let me out. Insane, your kisses drives me mad. Insane, oh, I need your love so bad. Insane, seem I'm going insane.
Early Motown sound here on the Vinyltreasure Show. Wade Jones and the Rayber voices on the Rayber label. One of the first 45s released with the Joe Bet Publishing. January 1959, Wade Jones with Insane. And the label name Rayber was derived from Berry Gordy Jr.'s second wife, Raynoma Lyles, and from Berry Gordy himself, Rayber Records. And I have two copies of that. Every time you find that record, it is trashed. It was only released in Detroit, so that's the only place you're really going to find the 45. It is a great tune. I like that record. So does Métis and Warren. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue back to the request. This group from Newark, New Jersey, they were managed by songwriter, singer, I think he was also a producer, and he later was an actor. His name was Joe Seneca. He managed this group. It's their only release, and it's a request for Nat. Nat, how do you know this song? Anyway, it's written by the lead singer. His name is Bobby Klein. We go to Warner Brothers Records for the Mellow Gents, Melogents, the Mellow Gents from April 59. It's called Baby Be Mine.
Baby, be mine, because I love you so, and I want the world to know that we go together. Please take my hand, love's wonderland. My heart is longing for you. Oh, baby, be mine. Maybe someday you'll come my way, and I will be pleading for you. Baby, you see, your heart belongs to me. So let the world know. Baby, be mine, because I love you so. And I want the world to know that we go together. We
By request for Nat Papagallo, those are the Mellow Gents. The Mellow Gents, I don't know if it was played. I couldn't find it listed on any of the listings, but the group out of Newark, New Jersey. So, Nat, maybe you did hear it on the radio back in April of 1959. The Mellow Gents on Warner Brothers. Baby Be Mine features Bobby Klein on lead. I have that one on a stock and a promo, Brian. I have that on a promo. Yes, I do. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. And last week I played the flip side of the Monterey's 45 Dearest one on the Onyx label. It was called Through the Years, which was co-written by the lead singer. His name was Ed Jordan, who was also the lead of the Five Delights on the Newport and Unart and Able labels. He also did lead on this cover song, which was first recorded by the Bachelors on the Earl label. Let's send this one out to the Colonel as we go to Morty Kraft's Bambi label for this group called the Mood Makers. The Mood Makers, again, it features Ed Jordan on lead, going out to the Colonel from May of '61. The Mood Makers on Bambi and their rendition of the Bachelors tune, Dolores.
Oh, Dolores, I love you.
Oh, before yesterday, my heart, she went astray. Oh, you came my way and made life so gay. Dolores, I love you. What more could I say? My heart beats
Yes,
for you.
boom, boom. Oh, Dolores, I love you.
I never knew before I met you. My life was so dark. You gave a little spark. Dolores, I love you. What more could I say? My heart beats
Yes,
for you.
boom, boom, boom.
They say that you'll be mine, and in your little heart I can find a little place for me, 'cause I love you, yes, can't you see?
Oh, Dolores,
Hey, before yesterday, my heart, she went astray. You came my way and made life so gay. Dolores, I love you. What more could I say? My heart beats
yes,
for you.
boom, boom. Oh, Dolores, I love you.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
As going out to the Colonel there, those are the mood makers. Yeah, the mood makers there. May 1961, Ed Jordan on lead, and yes, the Colonel says that not many people know that Ed Jordan on lead for that one. Their rendition of the tune Dolores on the Bambi label. Now I have that on a white promo, and Brian, I have it on the blue stock now. Yes, I do. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening featuring lots of requests tonight. Got 2 requests for Bopper Boy Warren in our YouTube chat room, so I want to get those in for him before Warren leaves here. So here's the first one that Warren requested. This group out of McKeesport, Pennsylvania. This is probably the hardest 45 to find on Lenny Martin and Lou Guarino's World label. Now, the World label would become World Artists after maybe 10 releases or so, I think. But it's a great ballad here. It features Bob Gaynor on lead. So going out to Warren, this one from September 61. Give a listen to The Pennants. The Pennants, The Pennant on World. It's called Don't Go.
Why must you go? Why must you leave me? What's made you cry? Why must you grieve me? Don't go, baby. Don't use the words goodbye. Don't say goodbye. We made a vow to love each other more than now. While it loves mother, don't go, baby. Don't use the words goodbye. You have always said you love me, and your place no one above me. But before you cause such misery and pain, I must ask you again. Why must you go? Why must you leave me? What's made you cry? Why must you grieve me? Don't go, baby. Don't use the words goodbye.
As by request for Warren, that's a great tune there. They're called The Pennants. The Pennants, and on the World record label, their tune called Don't Go. I lost my place here. Yes, I did. There we go. September 1961 on the World label, The Pennants with Don't Go. Johnny G not going yet. Got more requests to feature. Actually, I want to feature another request for Bopper Boy Warren. And this group out of Long Island, New York, included Frank Mancuso, supposedly was a member of this group. He was the lead singer of The Imaginations, recorded for the Music Makers label. Maybe he's on lead here. I'm not sure, but it's on the Rowe label, R-O-W-E label out of Trenton, New Jersey. And this group is called the Cordons, C-O-R-D-O-N-S. And they are doing a cover of a Drifters tune by request going out to Warren. This one from 1963, the Cordons on Row, and their rendition of the tune Some Kinda Wonderful.
All you have to do is touch my hand and show me you understand. And something happens to me that's some kind of wonderful. Anytime my little world seems blue, I just have to look at you, and everything seems to be some kind of wonderful. I know I can't express this feeling of tenderness. There's so much I wanna say, but the right words won't come my way. I only know when I'm in your embrace. This world is a happy place, and everything seems to be some kind of wonderful. I just want to tell you one thing, little girl. When days are dark and all things seem as though they're about to come to an end, darling, I can search my very soul, darling, and find a fire that I've never felt before. I realize that I'm just a shy guy, little girl, and I can't tell you all of the things that I really want to tell you. But I know that deep down in my heart I love you so very, very much. And I want you to know, baby, I know I can't express this feeling of tenderness. There's so much I want to say, but the right words won't come my way. Only knowing I'm in your embrace. This world is a happy place, and everything seems to be some kind of wonderful. And
Cover tunes here on the Vinyltreasure Show, and a request for Bopper Boy Warren that those are the Cordons, 1963, Some Kind of Wonderful, doing the Drifters tune. It's on the Row record label now. He says that it's sold for one copy, sold for $1,600, another one for $1,300. I paid, I'm not going to say that I got this record for cheap, but it was for about $300 I paid for the 45 many years ago. I think Greg Surik sold me that 45. But anyway, wow, maybe I made some money on that record. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes here. Let's continue. And last week, I featured a request for Mady Campboy. She requested the Crescendos, their second of three on Ray Dobard's Music City label. I played the side called I Don't Mind. It featured Wanda Burt on lead. She's also on the flip side, and we're going to give it a spin here. She's doing a cover song, a cover of a tune I think I first heard on an Oldies But Goodies album. Gloria Mann in 1955 had a record on the Sound label. It was called A Teenage Prayer, and it's a cover here as done by the Crescendos. Let's go back to December of 1960 on Ray Dobard's Music City record label for Wanda Burt and the Crescendos and her rendition of the tune Teenage Prayer. Cover tunes here on the Vinyltreasure Show. I didn't realize we've been 20 minutes in overtime. I get caught up with myself with all these cool 45s. Those are the crescendos from December 1960. Wanda Burt on lead. That's the second of three on the Music City record label. Teenage Prayer is out. And I think, Daryl, you mentioned Scheming by them. I have that one on a yellow vinyl, I do. Does anybody know if there have been some posts on Facebook about colored vinyl turning, the wax turning like black? How could that be? I guess maybe the sun turns it that way. I don't know. That's weird. I mean, I do have some of my red vinyls do have the black streaks in, but I thought it was like a mistake. Maybe that happens. I don't know. If anybody knows for sure, maybe the record companies back in the 50s knew. Anyway, I just thought I threw that out because I knew I wanted to ask some of you collectors about that. Let's continue here. How many of you like bongos? And they have long disappeared from the music scene for years now. I remember we had a TSO listener. His name was Danny. Do any of you diehard TSO listeners remember Danny? And he wanted me to do an all bongo show, but it was unfortunate that he passed away suddenly. I think it was last year, if I'm not mistaken. Charlene, you recall when Danny passed away, but I think it was last year. But here's a group out of Pittsburgh's Hill District, and it features Edward Saunder on lead as we go to the Regatta record label. We're going to send this one out to Danny. Hopefully he's listening somewhere because he would have liked this tune because it has bongos in it. It's from 1961. They're called the Volchords. The Volchords on Regatta, and their tune called Bongo Love. Yeah, cool bongos in that tune there by the Volchords, 1961 on the Regatta record label, song entitled Bongo Love. I was gonna do a special for Danny. Maybe I still will do bongos. There's quite a few records in the 1950s that had bongos in them for sure. Johnny G here doing Vinyltreasure Overtime. Now, on last week's Vinyltreasure Show, I played a request for Bopper Boy Warren. He requested the Veils on the Belmont label out of Hollywood, California, and I featured the A-side, the first of two on Belmont. It was called Buy Now, Pay Later. But let's give a spin to the flip side before I file it back down in the No Humidity basement. This one from November of 1960. They're called the Veils, V-A-I-L-S, the Veils on Belmont, and the song is called Great Somewhere.
In that great somewhere, I know my loved one is wished I could find her and bring her back with me. Back with me. So now I sit here all alone. Well, no one to call my own. I still love her. I still love her. I still love her with all of my heart. Oh, 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 my darling. Wherever you may be, oh, you are still my angel. Wherever you may be, oh, I believe, 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 I believe. Oh yes, in that great somewhere. Oh, so now I sit here all alone. Oh, no one to call my own. I still love her. I still love her. I still love her with all of my heart. With all my heart.
That's the first of two for the Veils. The Veils on the Belmont label out of Hollywood, California. November 1960, Great Somewhere is the name of that one. Johnny G's here in Vinyltreasure Overtime. Let's play a few more 45's here before we sign off. Let's head to New York City now for this next group, known as the Corvairs. Now, I don't know which Corvairs group this is, as there are a number of groups, different groups that recorded using this name, both black and white vocal groups. I think this is a black vocal group, if I'm not mistaken. And the request is for George Tompkins, A Killer Ballad. This one charted regionally on WATT. This was number 88 out of Trenton, New Jersey, WATT. Let's go to May of 1961, going out to George. The Corvairs on the Clock label. It's called Love Her So.
So much when I was with her, felt a magic touch, you know, darling, wherever you are, gonna find you, whether it's near or far. Oh, darling, tell me, how long has it been since we parted? And how long has it been since our worlds began? You know, darling, without you there is no world. There is no existence in my heart at all. Whoa, whoa, yeah. Oh, 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 yeah. Charlie, was it a million years ago? Come on, pal, please tell me, how long has she been gone? Now that she's gone,
I have been praying she will come back home, you know.
Liking that one there in the YouTube chat room. Those are the Corvairs' May 1961 release on the Clock label, song entitled Love Her So. That one there going out to George Tompkins. Great request for that one. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Overtime, this next 45 was one of the first oldie 45s I ever purchased. After school, I would walk to the local, it was called the Cherry Door Thrift Shop, and they had 45s all for a quarter. So I walk in one day, and I see this 45, this group from Los Angeles, California. I purchased it, and when Billy Storm left the Valiants for a solo career, Bryce Cofield kind of became the lead singer for the group, and they changed their name to the Untouchables, and this was their first release on the Madison label, written by Lou Adler and Herb Albert, young writers and producers back in early 1960. This charted number 17 on WHK in Cleveland, Ohio. It's the first of 4 for the Untouchables on the Madison label. February 1960, the Untouchables with their tune called Poor Boy Needs a Preacher.
Come on over, baby, sit right down on my knee, and let me tell you, honey, how I feel and what you mean to me. 'Cause I fell in love, oh yeah, I fell in love with you. Won't you please now bring your mother here? I'm gonna need her. Bring your father here.
Oh, I need to preacher.
Sweeter than a sugar cane. It makes my heart beat like the falling rain. And somehow I just can't explain what you do to me when you call my name. And I fell in love, oh yeah, in love with you. Fell in love with you. Fell in love for you are the girl. Wanna put my ring around your finger. Oh yeah, my ring around your finger. So the world will know that your love will really be mine. So now that you're here, baby, sitting down on my knee, you gonna stay right here and settle down for eternity. And I'll stay in love, oh yeah, I'll stay in love with you. Won't you please now bring your mother here? I'm gonna need her. Bring your father here.
Yeah, poor boy needs a preacher.
Yeah, I hope I don't get a copyright strike on this. Brian, you should have this on your wall. It should be there. Anyway, those are the Untouchables, February 1960. Poor Boy Needs a Preacher is the name of that one. First of 4 on the Madison label. Bryce Cofield on lead for that one. Johnny G here doing Vinyl Treasure Overtime, and I remember purchasing this next 45 out of the collection of Joel Scherzer, and he had Robbie Music. Gotta say hi to Joel and Robbie over in Pueblo, Colorado. Hope they are doing well. Now, it's another California group on Art LeBeau's original sound record label. Now, the lead singer is Alexander Pete Dixon, and in the late 1950s, he was a disc jockey who would broadcast on a station, KFWB. He would play gospel records from the L.A. Baptist Church, but then in 1963, he was the lead singer for this group called The Visions. We go back to April of 1963 for The Visions on original sound and their tune called Look at Me Now.
Look at me now. See how I feel. You play the game while I was real. Look at me now. Since you have gone away, you got me crying all of the time. You nearly made me lose my mind. Look at me now. Well, now that you've gone away. Oh, all of my life, I love you. I love you. Do anything that you really want me to. You want me just to prove that you really, really mine. And I love you till. Oh, look at me, baby. Can't you see? You play the game while I look at me, baby. Oh, now that you know away. Look at me now. Can't you see? That you play the game while I
April 63 release there for The Visions on Art LeBeau's original sound record label, and their tune called Look at Me Now. Johnny G's here in Vinyltreasure Overtime. Here's a rare 45 out of the estate of Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia to be specific, and it's a request for the Colonel. This group is called the Condors. What a cool name, the Condors, and it's on the Hunter record label. Let's go to April of 1961, going out to the Colonel. These are the Condors on Hunter, and their tune's called Sweetest Angel.
Sweetest angel, oh, where can you be? Oh, my heart hurts so badly. Won't you please come back to me? Sweetest angel, oh, where did you go? You are the one girl for me, I know. Won't you please come back to me? I'll try, oh my angel.
That's by request for the Colonel. That's a cool tune. The Condors, April 1961, out of Atlanta, Georgia, on the Hunter label. Cool 45's on that Hunter label. I think the original version of the Pips might be Huntum, and then they changed it to Hunter, I think. Or vice versa. Anyway, but that's Sweetest Angel. As we continue here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime, we head back to Hollywood, California for this next artist. Recorded as Jerry Stone, Albert Stone, Daniel A. Stone, and with this release on the Staccato label as Johnny Storm. Now, the publishing on this was owned by Salvatore Sonny Bono. It was called, what is it called? Chris Mark, is that what it is? I didn't write it down. Yeah, Chris Mark Publishing, which was owned by Sonny Bono. And this is arranged by Jack Nietzsche, and there are girls in the background, if I recall, on this. Let's go to July of 61 for Johnny Storm. Johnny Storm, it's on the Staccato label. It's called Stay in My Heart.
In my heart there's a pain, what a pain, burning low, burning slow. I'm alone, I'm so all alone. Please come back, come on back. Do me your favor, stay here in my heart. In my heart there's a flame, what a flame, burning low, burning slow. I'm alone without a love. Please come back, come on back, come on back. Do me a favor, stay here in my heart. You know I wouldn't trade you for nothing in the world. Because God made you to be my girl. Whoa, come on, come on, come on, come on and stay here in my heart. Stay in my heart. Whoa, you know I would trade you for nothing in the world. Because God made you to be my girl. Whoa, come on, come on, come on, stay in my heart. Stay in my heart. In my heart there's a pain, what a pain, burning low, burning slow. I'm alone, so all alone. Please come back.
That's out of Hollywood, California. His name is Johnny Storm. Johnny Storm. We'll send that one out to Norm, Brian. You got to tell him that. Johnny Storm, July 1961. Stay in My Heart is the name of that one on the Staccato label. Cool label out of California. Let's go for a few more 45s here. And back out, we stay out in Los Angeles, California, as this group backed up Linda Carr as the Impossibles on the Skyla and the Raystar label. Then Bobby Sanders joined the group and they became the Cheerios. And they had this release on the Infinity label. It also came out on the Golden Oldies label. This tune co-written by the lead singer. His name is Bobby Sanders. Bobby Sanders on lead. This one from September 61. I'm featuring it on Infinity. And if you believe it, I have a promo and a stock copy of this. Here are the Cheerios with Where Are You Tonight?
tight. Oh, oh, my lost love. Oh, lost love. I felt it was no pain, but time has passed on just the same. I find you still in my arms. To these arms that long to hold you, and these lips that you taught how to kiss you. These lonely sad and lonely nights without you, I thought I'd never miss. And oh, lost love, won't you once again really want me? Take this pain that you brought me. Lost love. Oh, yes. Lost love.
Matey likes that tune there by the Cheerios, September 1961. Where Are You Tonight is the name of that one. Featured on the Infinity label, Bobby Sanders on lead. Now, this group had another release on the Sue label as the Chandeliers. That is definitely a cool 45. We are here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Now, remember discovering this next 45 at the Yonkers Raceway Flea Market sometime in the late 1970s. Now, this singer out of Los Angeles, California. Now, the A-side charted nationally was a novelty song, made it up to number 57 on Billboard. It did better regionally. Brian, you must have this song. It was called My Wife Can't Cook, but the flip side is a killer B-side ballad. It was written by Gerald R. Russ, who I'm pretty sure is this singer by the name of Lonnie Russ. There's a great vocal group backing him up on this one. We're going to send it out to the Colonel. I know he'll like this tune from October 1962. Lonnie Russ on the 4J label with Something Old, Something New.
Something old, something new, something sad, something blue, something lost, oh, something found, since my old love put me down. Something way down in my heart told me you're the girl of my dream. Oh, yes you are. Something happened, something gay happened to me that day. Something honest, something true. something sad, something blue, something lost, something about since my old love put me down. Something way down in my heart told me be the girl of my dream. Oh, yes you are. Say yes you are. Whoa, baby.
That's a very cool discovery. That I played that. My aunt heard that song and she loved that song. She didn't have that in her collection because I mean she wasn't crazy for My Wife Can't Cook, but when she heard that side, oh my goodness, she loved that tune, and I love that tune, and so does George Tompkins and the Colonel. That's Lonnie Russ, October 1962 on the 4J record label, the first of four. He has 4 releases on that label. It's called Something Old, Something New. That's what Johnny G features here every Saturday. Actually, something old, mainly. But anyway, 2 more 45s to go before we sign off here on the Vinyltreasure Show. Now, I can't tell you much about this next 45 except that it's rare and that it's on a label out of Houston, Texas, San Leone Records here, and it's produced by Troy Caldwell, and the artist goes by the name of Johnny Till. Johnny T-I-L-L, and there is an uncredited group backing him up on this one as we go to 1963 for Johnny Till and a group on San Leone. It's called Ding Dong Bells.
Ding dong ding, ring a ling a ling. Ding dong ding, ring a ling. Ding dong ding, ring a ling. Ding dong bell.
That's a rare 45 out of Houston, Texas on the San Leon record label. Johnny Till's his name. Johnny Till and a group, a song entitled Ding Dong Bells. That's going to do it for Johnny G and the Vinyl Treasure Show. Want to thank you for joining Johnny G, listening to original vinyl 45s out of my collection. You want to get in touch with me, send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. Thank you all for your cool requests and your comments about the show. Getting a lot of comments on the YouTube page also. Thank you so much for all that. I'm happy to be able to play some of these records for you that I have. I'm surprised sometimes that I do have some of these. I can't locate them all the time, but like I said, I need a bunch of elves to help me file a lot of these 45s. But again, thank you so much, those of you sending me requests. And they're very cool requests, and you got great taste in music. A lot of the listeners to Top Shelf Oldies, they are very educated in music, and it's great to play records out of my collection for all you guys. So thank you for tuning in tonight. And we're going to close the show tonight with a request from our Nevada listener, Chuck Stanton. He requested this group out of North Philadelphia. They have this release on Harry Finfer's Arlen record label. It was picked up as a second press on the Gina label in 1964, but it originally came out in May of 1963. This group is called The Companions, and it was a request for Chuck. It's on the Arlen label, the yellow Arlen label, not the blue. The blue is a later press, but it's The Companions, a song entitled It's Too Late. That is the closer, and that's what it is. It is too late. It's almost 1 a.m. But again, those of you sticking around, thank you so much tuning in here to the Vinyl Treasure Show. Please tune in tomorrow evening for my buddy Dave the Raven, his Relics and Rarities show. It all begins at 9 p.m. here on Top Shelf Oldies, 9 to midnight right here, and all the shows during the week on Top Shelf Oldies. We got a lot of cool DJs, very knowledgeable. They play a wide variety of music, 50s and 60s. I don't know if they play the 70s. I don't know if Hi-Fi Tim likes the 70s. But anyway, we got a lot of different types of eclectic tastes here on the program. So that's going to do it, folks. Thank you, Charlene, again for all your help last minute. It was crazy this week. But I'll be back next Saturday at 10 p.m. with more original vinyl 45s out of my collection. Thank you all, those of you sticking around in the chat room and also the Top Shelf Oldies chat room and those listening online. I will be back next Saturday, so everybody have a safe and happy week. And we salute to all the veterans out there. Thank you for all your service that you do. Those of you that are off that day. I am working. I got to go into work. But anyway, I will see you guys here next Saturday at 10 p.m. So just want to say, everybody, so long.
I'm to blame. I am
Thank you again, folks, for sticking around. Thanks, Charlene. I know it was a lot of stuff at last minute. Let me show you the record. Great request, Chuck. This is a great record. I haven't heard it in a while. Haven't played it in a while. I have the Gina press too over here. I played the better copy. They both are okay as far as condition goes. It's not a bad copy, but got this a long time ago. It's Too Late is the name of that one by the Companions. I don't know the lens. There it is. It focuses in there. That is a great tune. And thanks again, folks, for hanging around, listening. Played a lot of records tonight. Hope you heard some things you haven't heard before, things you haven't heard in a long time. I'll be back next Saturday at 10 p.m. So everybody, have a safe and happy week. I'll see you again here next Saturday. Take care, everybody. So long. Bye-bye.